Articles 2, 4, and 7 this time, not justice, but respect here. We can write it like this, and the expression and explanation here. We can also say respect like this. Hello everyone. We're here with the 4th lesson of our SPSS From Scratch series. In our first 3 lessons, we generally introduced SPSS, entered data together, and finally explained reverse coding. Our data has now taken the form you see on the screen. The topic of this lesson is calculating scales scores as part of our preparations before analyses. Calculating scale scores is a topic we frequently need. In this video, we will focus on this topic. We will explain it again using the sample survey on the screen. If you want to follow along with me, we will continue working on the SPSS file we used in the previous lesson, which you can currently see on the screen. If you didn't do the previous lesson with us, you should download the file named DIRS4, which is the version of this file at the end of the previous lesson. You can find where to download the file in the video description. I assume you have paused the video and downloaded the file, so without wasting any time, I'm starting the lesson. To calculate scale scores, we need a scale. If our study includes a scale, we calculate its scores. In our previous lesson, we had prepared a sample scale called the Managerial Behavior Scale. It was a 5-point Likert type scale consisting of 9 items. We had provided some information about this in our earlier lessons. Here, we mentioned that there are 9 items and that a total score between 9 and 45 can be obtained from this scale. And we said that the items are structured positively. We stated that if the participant's score increases, it means that managerial behaviors are being evaluated more positively. Therefore, we need to calculate a total score. I named the total score as the humanistic management approach. In a moment, we will easily and practically calculate this as a new variable on the SPSS screen. Also, here we see the names of 3 subdimensions. In some scales, besides the total score, there are also subdimension scores, and these are always specified by the person who developed the scale. You will come across an explanation like, these items constitute this subdimension. Let's assume that our scale here also has 3 subdimensions: the justice subdimension, the respect subdimension, and the benevolence subdimension. Just like the total score, these also represent a positive structure. An increase in the scores of these subdimensions here indicates, for example, that the manager's just behavior, respectful behavior, or benevolent behavior has increased. Which items make up these subdimensions? You can also see this in the colors shown here. Let's assume that items 1, 3, and 6 make up the justice subdimension. Let's assume that items 2, 4, and 7 make up the respect subdimension, and the items you see here make up the benevolence subdimension. We also see the stars here. These are reverse-coded items. We talked about this in our previous lesson. We explained these. Now, paying attention to these reverse-coded items here, we will calculate our subdimension scores and the total score. Yes, we've given some preliminary information before moving on to the SPSS part. I wanted to briefly explain the scores we'll be calculating, the logic behind it, and why we're doing it. Now we can move on to the SPSS part, to the practical application. For this, the first place we need to go is the transform menu here. Under the transform menu, the first option is compute variable, which means to calculate a variable. We will calculate a new variable here. That's why we're using this menu here. When we click on compute variable, the window you see here on the screen opens up. In this window, we see the target variable here. We will write the name of our target variable here. In a moment, we'll write an abbreviation that means total score, first of all. This will be our target variable, the new variable we are going to create. This variable will be added to the first row in the dataset here, in the empty row. Then, we will write a simple mathematical calculation formula here, in a very straightforward way. And we will do this by selecting the formula from the section you see on the right side here first. And we can use this section here for some calculations. In this section, we see some numbers and symbols similar to those on a calculator. We will use this as well later on. And here, we can see all the variables in our dataset. First, I wanted to introduce you to what is here. Now we can move on to our calculation. First, what we need to do is determine the name of our target variable. We will start by calculating the total score first. For this, we can write an abbreviation like this, YDO_top. We can write a short expression that means YDO total score. Since this is a variable name, meaning it's a name like the ones you see in this column here, we need to follow the rules for variable naming. We covered this in our previous lessons. Then, we will write a label here. In this column, for example, the variable CNSYT has a label as gender. This variable here will also have a label. I clicked here, and in this section that opened up, I want to write a label here. I can write it like this. I go over to my survey here, and I had named it Humanistic Management Approach from here. I can paste this right here. So the total score means Humanistic Management Approach for me. I want to label my variable here this way. After doing this, I click Continue, and now I move on to the calculation. When moving on to the calculation, first I click on the part on the right that says All. When I click on this, I see that a lot of text has appeared in many rows at the bottom here. I click here on the first one and quickly click on Sum. When I click on this, I see that the word sum appears on the screen, or you can also find it by searching here. I wanted to show you the shortcut. When I double click on Sum, the text here will be transferred to the formula section over there. So I double click on it. I see that it has been transferred here, and then I notice that a formula with question marks and parentheses has appeared here. This formula means I will give you some things in parentheses, add them up. Sum means add. If you wanted to calculate the average, if you were going to do a calculation based on the average score of this scale, then you would need to find mean here. There should be mean over there. You would do the same thing for the mean here. Since we want to proceed based on the total score, we brought the sum expression here. Then, we need to bring in the items here that we want to sum up for this calculation. Which items are we going to sum? We will sum the items from 1 to 9, but we need to pay attention to the reverse-coded items. Our first item is over here. By the way, we can also do it like this. I hover over it, right-click, and select Display Variable Names. Show me the names, not the labels. That way, I can understand it more easily. I want to see it as YD0B1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. This way, I take YD0B1. I drag it over to the right from here. I put a comma, then 2 commas, then 3 commas, then 4 commas. Like this. Then I add 5 and a comma. Then at 6, there was a reverse item. I take the reverse item and drag it to the right like this. By the way, there's a ruler icon in front of these. You might wonder why these don't have it. It's because we didn't change this to scale, so it stayed like this. We can change it to scale. We had already explained the levels of measurement in our previous lessons. Since this doesn't have any effect here, there won't be a problem. Yes, finally, we added the YD0 reverse item. Don't forget the comma. Then we add 7, put our comma. Our 8th item was also reversed. We reverse it, add it, put our comma, and take the 9th item. We add it here like this. When we do this, we're telling SPSS to sum the items we've given here and create a new variable based on the name we've provided. When we click OK, we first see that the record for this variable has appeared here. Let's take a look at the log record, the transaction log, to see what has been done. The compute operation has been performed. A variable named YD0 total has been calculated, and it has been computed in this way. And its name has been set like this, and it has been output, meaning it has been added here into our dataset. I'm scrolling down, and here I see that this variable has been added to the 23rd row. If I double-click on the 23rd row like this, I can quickly switch to the other screen, and for each participant, let me move to the beginning, but not too far to the left. We see that the total score has been calculated for each participant. In this way, we've completed the first stage. Now we will calculate the subscale scores. Again, I want to go to the variable screen, and then we go to transform. We go to compute variable and clear this area. To do it quickly, actually, you don't have to clear it. You can make changes directly, but as you get more practice, you can do that later. Now, so as not to get confused, I want to first add the items of the justice subscale here. The items of the justice subscale are item 1, then a comma, and item 3. I add them like this, then a comma, and the reverse scored item 6. From here, I add the reverse scored item 6, and for its name, after YD0, I can write ADL. And here I would say, I select this part with Ctrl A, then I say delete, meaning I delete it, and then I can write justice here. After writing justice, I say continue, and then I say OK. After saying OK, I see that its record has appeared here. It will also be useful for you to keep these records. You can later come back here to check what you have done in the past, or whether you have made any mistakes. Yes, I'm minimizing this again. I see that its subdimension has appeared here. If we look here again, we can see that it has been added here as well. Alright, now we're moving on to the next subdimension. We're doing the same process like this. This time, let's go from here. Items 2, 4, and 7. So we can write 2 like this, then come here and write 4, and then come here and write 7. But we need to delete the reverse statement here. Items 2, 4, and 7. This time, it's not justice, it's respect here. We can write it like this. And we can also change the statement and the explanation here to respect like this. We click continue. We click OK. We see that our new variable has been added here again. I'm continuing. Transform, compute, variable. Which items this time? 5, 8, 9. Item 5, then item 8. But if I'm going to write it like this, I need to write it this way. And then I define the 9th item here like this. And then I can briefly write its name as helpfulness like this, and here as helpfulness. Did we write it correctly? We didn't write it correctly. Yes, helpfulness. We can write it like this. We say continue, and when we click OK, we see that this variable has also been processed and that the scores have been calculated like this. Let's not forget to scale this one here, and let's scale this one too, and do it like this. This time, let's say copy from here. We pasted them all at once a scale like this. Yes, we have calculated our total score and subscale scores, and we have seen that these have been added to our dataset. For each participant, we can see on the far right that the total score and subscale scores have been added. So, we've come to the end of this video. In our next lesson, we will continue to perform some operations on variables. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, you can ask them below the video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I kindly ask you to subscribe. If you liked our video, I kindly ask you to hit the like button. I wish you ease in your work. See you in our next videos.